I would like to speak on behalf of 10,000s of teachers actually who consider themselves global educators and who teach their students so that they can become global citizens. They empower them to think, feel and act on behalf of the planet, and I'm connected to their wonderful stories of how they change their own communities and create global connections. Friends in Paraguay, they have started the first composting plant in the whole country with their students and haven't only eradicated the rubbish in the city but also prevented the rainforest from being deforested in the area. Other people have here in the South Bronx created urban gardens with their students where food deserts used to be. And a friend in Morocco is working against overfishing with her students, and they are having huge success. So 10,000s of people are already teaching global citizenship education, and some of them don't even know they do. I would also like to talk about the hundreds of global teaching ambassadors who try to encourage other teachers by preparing seminars, webinars, meeting others, asking them about their practice, encouraging them to continue and inspiring them. I don't know if I have the authority, but I would also like to talk on behalf of 7 billion people in the world who are starting to realize, or maybe are going to realize, that they only have one planet that has ending resources. And I want to make the case for global citizenship education to be promoted strongly so that we can actually save this planet. And on behalf of almost 2 billion young people who deserve an education that is as purposeful as possible and is full of impact and the experience they can make, that they make a difference. If we wait until they are grown-ups and don't give them the opportunity to act, they will lose the ability to act. Global educators who are fighting for this kind of education are currently often doing this without a lot of support because they are torn between standardized teaching methods and curricula that put chains on them in some areas. And so lots of them are struggling between fulfilling their compulsive education and the purposeful education that they feel is right. I'd like to talk about a few finalists of the Global Teacher Prize. During the last 3 years, 150 people have been chosen as finalists. One important criteria for choosing them is their ability to create or empower global citizens. And this year, Maggie McDonnell from Canada was chosen, and she has lost 10 students during the last 2 years because of suicide. She decided that she needs to change the curriculum. She can't just continue to teach whatever it is that was currently urgent with regards to the paperwork, but to focus on mental health and connect all learning to the health of her students. I would like us to be aware that there are these stories in the world and they aren't shared often enough. And if they're not shared often enough, then we can't inspire other teachers. We are currently reaching 10,000s, but there are 60 million teachers in the world. And as long as we don't reach all of them, and even in the most remote places, those that continue to do global citizenship education will have a very hard time being outsiders or being considered difficult or too much of an activist for a teacher. They are brave people and they are donating a lot of their time and their own financial means, and I would like to make the case of supporting them as much as possible. I would like to make a strong case for also focusing on formal, because 1.2 billion go to our schools, and on average, OECD average, they spend 7,500 hours in school. And while the informal youth work is so highly effective in encouraging them to be global citizens, in making them really strong personalities, we seem to think that this is something that should be learned out of school. And especially our weakest students sometimes don't get the chance to be in informal education, at least in most countries where I speak to teachers, because sometimes parents are like, if you don't have this or that grade, you can't join an after-school club, or you can't join a whatever youth movement. It's sometimes also only directed to the best qualified students, or those that are already experiencing that their opinion matters, that their experience matters. So I would like us to remember that the time that our students spend in school, the 10 years, the 8,000 hours, is precious, and we cannot afford to have 80 or 90% of what they learn there to be forgotten. We need valuable and relevant education in our schools. I would like to recommend focusing on solving real-life problems and spending as little time as possible on the students finding solutions that are already out there, but trying to find new solutions to real-life problems, possibly connected to the global goals, like finding out how can we make our school more sustainable, find better ways to have renewable energies, and take the physics and chemistry classes from there. I would like to recommend connecting them with students in other countries, like my friend in Malaysia who is doing awesome chemistry classes there, and with students from different countries connecting and collaborating. I think you're already creating a great base for global citizenship. And to connect them with experts, with email and Skype and so many different ways of technologies. You can reach the whole world, and I would like you to make that a part of your curriculum if you can. I can also recommend a teacher in the US who's working on electronic cars and has fantastic results with his students. Maybe you can reach out to him. I can give you his address afterwards. And I would like you to consider which ways of assessment are there that could encourage the relevant outcomes and the new findings. And I believe that the most important factor in teaching students about global citizenship is to empower the teachers first, help them become global citizens, make sure they are connected to people in other countries, that they have discussed education with someone from another place, or that they find the spirit of being a global citizen themselves and wanting to hand it on. I would like to stress that global citizenship always involves local citizenship too, and what you say is the exact point. You wouldn't want to teach these kids something that is abstract and has nothing to do with the problems they're facing and the deaths they're experiencing or the hunger, or you want to connect their learning to the problems that are there. That is also the most likely that they are actually going to come to school. And I would like to encourage you to have a look at the biographies and the stories of the finalists of the Global Teacher Prize who work under the most difficult conditions in Afghanistan, in Kenya, in all sorts of different parts of the world. And they work with students who wouldn't have come to school if they tried to teach them something that was completely abstract. Knowing self is first, and then knowing others, and helping yourself, putting your own oxygen mask on first, and then helping others, is an important principle. Thank you.